Hello and welcome to the Blackpool FC Preview Show. I'm Jed Mills and here's what's coming up on today's episode. We'll reflect on last weekend's match at Bristol City where the Seasiders picked up a late point on their return to the Championship. We'll hear from the man who set up the all-important equaliser, Josh Bowler. Chris Maxwell discusses his thoughts on the season. We'll look ahead to Saturday's match against Cardiff City with head coach Neil Critchley. Plus, defender Daniel Gretterson talks us through his recovery. Joining me today in the studio to make his debut on the preview show is former Blackpool defender Colin Greenall. Colin, thanks very much for joining us. First of all, we'll talk about the Bristol City game, first one in the Championship. For me, as I said last week, I thought it was a really good game for the Seasiders to open up with. A late equaliser, as we know, but for you, how did they settle into that first game?
It's a big game to go to Bristol City. You know, when you've just come up from League One, I thought it was a massive task for them. But I thought they dealt with it really well. As I looked at the game and watched the game, I must admit I thought Bristol were the better team, that were getting on top a little bit after a really positive first 20 minutes for Blackpool where they showed really good signs. But Bristol seemed to get on top a little bit. But the more I reflected on it on the way home and when I've got back is that Blackpool did superb, you know, and they should take a really lot of positives away from the game. What
about that pressure that they had from a good quality Championship side, soaking it up? You know, it is a relatively, again, new defence that they've had to bring in.
It is. Something Blackpool did all last season. I mean, I watched quite a lot of the games last year, and on the games that they were really struggling on or didn't get on top of teams, they did again what they did last year. They dig in. Sometimes you're not going to. There's different ways to win football matches or draw them or get beaten in them. And I thought Saturday was just one of them that they grinded out. And again, 2.5 minutes into injury time, and they get the equaliser.
Yeah, and a lot of people will always look at the manager and the changes that you make. Neil Critchley made some changes, and obviously, you know, it was perfect for him.
It was. You want a little bit of impact when you bring players off the bench, and there's no doubt about it. I know we'll talk about them afterwards. The two subs that came on, they give them an impact. All of a sudden, they got in behind Bristol. They caused them problems. You had a winger coming off the right-hand side onto the left-hand side to create the goal. It just did exactly what it should do and what it says on the tin with substitutes. And if anyone wants to look at the ways to bring subs on to impact games, they should have a look at the game.
Being there as well, obviously the excitement looking into this weekend's game is the home crowds coming back. You being at Bristol, I mean, how much of a difference was a full crowd coming in and making all that noise?
Yeah, I know everyone talks about it. It's great to have the fans back and people go on, but it really is. I mean, we turned up, it was about a 6-hour trip to get there, and we turned up about 1:45. And just to walk through the crowds, all having a pint, having a burger, and there was loads of them behind the back of the main stand, and it was brilliant because you can see happy faces, all just want to be there. But I don't think people within football clubs realise what it means to supporters. Now I know I didn't as a player, but when you see it and they travel, and there's a great following the Blackpool supporters, and for them to be there and all together, it sort of like makes the result relevant until the game starts. And I think if they'd have come away getting beat 1-0, Blackpool supporters would have still been happy. They've given a decent performance. But to get that, the best time to score a goal if you're going to draw is into injury time. So you come away, and the bus on the way home must have made that 5-hour journey seem about 2 hours.
With that goal, really well worked move as well, and a proper striker's goal. That's kind of how I would describe it watching it.
Absolutely. I thought Lavery, when he came on, I thought he did maybe what Jerry Yates didn't do in the game, because games are different, and Jerry was looking to feet all the time, but all of a sudden it seemed to stretch Bristol, and he got in behind and created a great chance for Jerry, where Jerry put it over the bar, and he just had that impact. It was sort of like no fear, I'm just going to go on, I'm sub. I've come from Northern Ireland, scored loads of goals, you know what, I'm going to go and do it again. And he just looked to play with freedom, and for him to get the goal, it was brilliant, because I thought he deserved it. You know, he wasn't on long, but again, that's what you have with impact players. Bowley came off the right hand side, he's come across out of his position, he's got it, crossed it, and a fantastic goal scorer's finish. Yeah. You know, the one that I think that they're the type of goals that he'll get.
Yeah, it was a really good goal, and like you say as well, going from League One into the Championship, there is always, it doesn't matter how many pre-season games you have and how well you do against maybe, you know, higher opposition, it's all about, you know, the start of the season and the games in the actual division you're in. I suppose a lot of people will be thinking how well they perform. Were they sort of overawed a little bit? As in a whole 90 minutes, what did you make of Blackpool in the Championship against.
Well, I thought they were anything but overawed. I've got to admit, in the first 20 minutes, I thought they were fantastic, but I wanted them to get a goal. You know what it's like. Once you've got pressure, you've got to make the most of that pressure and get a goal, because Bristol did come into it after that. I think what they'll find, and they probably know it anyway, is that you go at one level in football. If you give chances away, they score, and if you create them, you've got to put them in the back of the net. And I must admit, when Jerry put that one over the bar, when the one Connolly hit the post, I thought, do you know what, 2 chances away from home, you've got to score one. Maybe in League One you get away with it, but in Championship you've got to score them again. So to go right to the death, it just showed what steel they've got within them.
Subscribe to Tangerine TV for only $1.99 a month to watch the full episode of this preview show and more behind the scenes content. Don't forget to like and subscribe here on YouTube and click the notification bell so you don't miss any other video.